we're still in the 12 Essential Insights book. We're on the 11th Essential Insight, which is living a purposeful life. We'll start there, and who knows where we're going to end up. But
Yeah. Well, I'll stay. I'll start with that. I think living a purposeful life is a good idea. Everybody write that down and keep it in mind. It's like, um, I love a challenge. I think it's fun. And Alan contacted me just not just a couple hours ago and just said he and Herb were. I assume they're out on partying or something. I don't know. He just said he and Herb weren't going to be here, I knew I had Potash to help me through, and I dragged Patrick in with me too because he and I just have done a lot of this stuff together. Um, I've got a couple of ideas, but I just want to start the discussion with you guys. It's like, um, first of all, since I'm leading right now, I'll just go and talk about some of the things Howard said. Um, I I am I don't get to say this very often in this meeting, but I am a Thom Rutledge, and I am an alcoholic and an addict, and I'm recovering from that, and I'm recovering from assholism. And it's like the definition, my definition of dry drunk is one who is recovering from the addiction, but not the assholism. So, and I think, emotional sobriety is just that. It's the recovering, of our, and it's, it really is assholism as long as we include it in terms of how we behave or how we think uh, negatively, destructively about other people, but also how we think about ourselves. I think that's one of the main things as a therapist I see all the time is that one of the main problems is that we can be very good and very kind to other people, but we leave ourselves out of that flow, and as a result of that, we end up feeling depleted, and so we need to be able to do that. It's like um, I just want to say this about what Howard said, or with to Howard is like you made that comment about it took 38 years to get here. It's like I can't I can't I lost count of how many times that I have that experience now, and as an older person, where I go like, why didn't I know this before? And shouldn't I have? And here's what I've done a lot of thinking about this, and I think a lot of times I have known it before. I mean, first of all, I heard a long time ago in a meeting something I've always remembered and quoted is human beings are forgetting machines. That's what we do. And so, from that, I say when we define recovery, recovery is not we're not trying to improve our memory. We're trying to create a life, a support system that is made up of post-it notes, basically, of reminders. And I think I've said that in this group. We are each other's post-it notes. It's like we're here, and sometimes we do it by saying what we need to hear, and sometimes we just do it by existing. It's like I love the idea that there's a community where I just think of it as it's so cool to have a community in which you don't have to explain yourself. I mean, think about when you're first trying to get support from whatever you're recovering from. Very, very often, at the beginning, with the people that are you and they're close to you, you kind of have to give them a little in-service training about what it is you're doing and how to support. And and one of the things we often are educating people who are supporting us to do is don't we're not asking for a lot of advice. We're not asking you to fix us. We just want you to be with me, and hang with that. It's but when I get quiet, I'm just thinking. I got several guys talking at one time, but I want to go back to what 38 years, or it could be 40 or 50 years for me. It's like, or I will look, and I've probably said that in this group too. I'll look back. um, I've been tracking my previous books while we've done this emotional sobriety stuff, and been very happy to see how congruent what I have written is with emotional sobriety. Um, but it's it's not unusual for me to have the experience of looking at back one of my books and going like, I like that. That's good what was written there, but I don't think I knew that. I don't remember knowing that when I was that age, you know. And it's like, and and I don't try to explain it. I'm just, I feel like it was, whatever's there is a gift. If it works, it works. But I think we just get it deeper and deeper and deeper. All that to say this. And I'm saying this to you two guys especially. So, because I would love you to talk about what your experience with this stuff is this week I had had one of those experiences of it's just so fucking simple, it's how could I possibly missed it? But I had a client who texted me over the holidays, and and she's recovering from her eating disorder, and so she said, we usually call the eating disorder ED with the acronym for eating disorder. She said, and she's been recovering for quite a long time, and she said Ed is so loud. He's so loud, and I and she was describing kind of becoming intimidated by it. I responded back to her with what I tell people all the time: your eating disorder is never going to change. Therapy does not alter your eating disorder. Therapy has not altered our addiction. I mean, I think you guys can agree with our addictions are alive and well and unharmed. They're you talk about who's on the bench. I mean, they're ready to come into the game if they see the slightest opportunity. We have to. They're opportunists and they be ready for that.
They're the ringers too.
They are absolutely.
They're the all stars.
They are. Yeah, they're so fucking good at what they do. It's yeah, and so one of the things though so what I told her in the text was I just said the simple piece of here's the thing that people don't get or don't practice. You can only, and this is not earth shattering. This is stuff we repeat over and over again. The only thing you can change, the only thing you have any control over is your mind, not your body. Even, we're talking about people being sick and all this, not or Patrick's body falling off mountains, it's like, it's our mind. It's how we interpret what's happening in the world and how we respond to it. And that's all we can control. And that means externally, I can't control what you guys are thinking. And internally, I can't control what my addiction is thinking or saying to me. I can't control what an eating disorder says or that kind of stuff. It's like, and it's hard to, this is where I want you guys to jump in and help me out because I just had this insight. So, and it's so clear that this is so simple. And it really is one thing that if we do it, when we act on it, we're okay. I mean, wonderful, great, whatever. We're all right as long as we're doing that. The place, Bill's letter is a Bible to me. It's like that part about, when you're in distress, looks inside and you're going to find that there are unrealistic expectations. Bill doesn't say, if you're feeling in distress, look and see if there are unrealistic expectations. It's like there are, and I don't like definitive things very much. I love to come in and kind of blow those out of the water. But this one's right. It's like there are. I mean, and I'm amazed at how often I bring that up with clients. And I say, let's look at it this way with these unrealistic expectations. And these people are upset about stuff. They don't know, like what's going on with them. And they look at me straight in the eye, totally serious, and go, I don't have any unrealistic expectations. It's like, because why is that? Because they think that they're still in a place where they think it is reasonable to expect people to cooperate with them. to please act like I want you to act. And it's nice when they do, but it's like, it's we need to wake up every day and not count on that. It's like, so anyway, my point is, I thought all I need to do for the rest of my career is that. I just need to remind everybody of that constantly. That that's the anybody remember I wish Carol Carter were here. It's like the movie with Billy Crystal and Jack Palance, City Slickers.
Hmm.
I know for a lot of young people it's an old book, but remember Jack Palance. He played Curly, and he would always say, he'd pull his finger up and he'd say, he'd be sitting on the back of that horse and go, "There's one thing," and he always told Billy Crystal that. Now he never said what the one thing was. Billy Crystal never knew what the one thing was. It's like we didn't know as the audience what the one thing was, and we never do. They never tell us that. But I think this is the one thing. I think I discovered it. It's like how arrogant is that? It's like the one thing is I only control me, and that's it. And anytime I stray from that, I'm going to be rewarded with some version, some level of distress. And it's like it's the simplest thing in the world. It feels like when I got it the other night, it was brand new. I was like I was having a new insight, but I know I've had that insight multiple times, many times through my recovery. Um, that makes sense to you guys about
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
simplicity. It's offensively simple.
Well, my name is Patrick. I'm an alcoholic. And when the trouble really started for me was in my adolescence. And I was very lovesick and horny and just like very awkward and frustrated in high school. And I was in a lot of turmoil because of that. And then I didn't get along with my parents. And I was very angry and I would, punch the planks out of my closet door, and just I felt like I was spinning in a dryer or something, just restless, irritable, and discontent until I found drugs and alcohol. And then I had a method to find kind of like get steady during all that. And I suppose like my emerging understanding of emotional sobriety is that no, it was that turmoil before I took the drugs. It was that thing that I was fixated on. I'm gonna let the cat out real quick while I'm talking. But it was the expectation that I needed to be unhooked from uh, the demand, the expectation was, for that girl to like me, for me to be okay, or for my mom to say yes instead of no, to me going out and for me to be okay and whatever, getting the good grade on the test. And I didn't think at that time in my life that I could handle life being that way, being the way that was different than the way I wanted it to be. And so I was just looking for a way out, and and so that's what happened. And so I think like now, yet again, in my recovery, and there are layers of recovery as Tom was describing. I don't, I don't, I don't make myself accessible to the drugs and the alcohol, and I don't do that anymore. So what's left to me, is I've got to find a way to handle the things being in life being not being the way that I want them to be, as they often are not. And some of that process involves working at it and making those changes, changing what I can. It's back to the serenity prayer. Like doing the work and trying to organize my physical world in a way that it obeys my imagination, and I can kind of release the pressure valve. And then then there's a lot of acceptance, and it's leaning into all the other tools that we talk about, and that we explore through our fellowships and through our meetings. And you know, for me, it's the work I do with Tom and Alan, and it's all kinds of things. But yeah, I suppose like what um I guess this officially this is like living a purposeful life, which I suppose maybe we can get into a little bit later tonight. But I suppose in Bill's letter, when you guys read it and we're talking about it just now, it's just thinking about like, you know, the unhooking that needed to happen, like and but didn't. That was my real
Yeah.
first breach of sobriety. It wasn't the drugs and alcohol. That was the next thing. But it was that inflexibility, an unwillingness or inability to handle life on life's terms. And then uh, the emotion. That is the emotional sobriety I've been trying to get
Mhm.
to is being able to unhook myself. So
Well,
yeah.
okay. One of the things I want to say to you, Potash, and to everybody else, you just learned why I say don't get rid of Patrick, because Patrick, he does this on the podcast for Al and I all the time. He knows what the theme is, and he brings us back to it. He just did it for us. What are we talking about? Purposeful life. It's like, what do I think I'm talking about? I don't care. It's like, I'm just saying some things, but I
Well,
love that. And Patrick, seriously, that is one of I mean, you give lots of gifts to the work that we do together, but that's one of them in the podcast in particular. You are the glue that holds it together and puts and organizes that in a way that is amazing. Now, okay, now I want to shift. Okay, so if I say, I'm just playing here, but it's like if I say, okay, so as of this week today, I'm going. There's the one thing is you can only control yourself. Okay. If you had to choose, you can't have that one because that's mine. But if you had to choose one thing that is the most important in your recovery, your emotional recovery, what would you choose?
whew.
Now, see,
Um,
Potash has an advantage because he's now thinking about it.
yeah,
It's like,
you got me. Yeah, you got me thinking, which is the problem. Um, from an emotional sobriety standpoint, I think it's very similar to the one thing, which is no one is coming, right? Like that idea that um,
it's us. Yeah.
putting my happiness outside of myself. And when you were talking, it made me think, and I had to go look it up. There's the line in the big book where Bill Wilson writes about the actor who's playing the director, right? And he says, "Is he not the victim of the delusion that he can wrest satisfaction and happiness out of this world if he only manages well?" And that delusion, led me to drinking and drugs. And then it led me to, all the other stuff the other asshole pieces that I needed to recover from, as you pointed out,
Mhm.
for yourself that, I thought it was managing, grasping, controlling, orchestrating, and when it really was letting go and taking care of myself. And I'll tie it back to the theme, finding the purpose, right? One, I've told this story before. Before I picked up drugs and alcohol, I was depressed and suicidal as a child because I thought, is this all there is for me? I can't believe I was put on this earth to suffer. And perhaps I, unconsciously had a demand that life was supposed to provide me purpose, right? That life or God, whatever
Mhm.
universe was supposed to go, hey, Tom, here you go, 9 years old, go, this is your path, go for it. You've got it all figured out. This is going to be fulfilling. That demand or delusion led to a lot of pain and until I got to a point where I could start to define that for myself and find out that my purpose was really this recovery process to help others to be able to be of service in and outside of the 12-step community, and to be an interpreter for other people to help them understand the AA's 12 steps and this emotional sobriety stuff and to help to bring it to as many people as possible. So it was really, the piece of taking care of myself and also defining the purpose for myself. Maybe it's what the universe had in store for me to begin with, but I had to be the one who cleared out all the other stuff to find out what it was.
Well, yeah, and I think yeah, what you're saying, I think it does just work right with the one thing is the idea that I love that you're just nailing it down. That basically the questions we need to ask about what needs to happen is always about what do I need to be doing. Or what do I need not to be doing? What do I need to be letting go of? I mean, and of course, we know that's some of the hardest instructions there are when people say, when Herb does his hands, that stuff. It's like it's doing nothing is one of the hard. Doing nothing is one of the hardest things in the world. Oh, good. Patrick's pantomiming Herb now. It's like,
I thought it was David Byrne.
but it's like yeah, I don't know. I'm just my brain. You're just getting the raw material because I'm going through this week. And one of the things I'm really grateful for, having done this, been at this work 40 years, and it's like I was having a conversation with a colleague the other day about burnout, and I said, the I don't think I've ever been anywhere close to burnout, and it's like I've credit the program as much as anything else because I mean just my training or whatever would not have done this, but I've part of recovery is defining myself as somebody who is constantly learning. And that is my if I had to choose, this is just a chosen belief. I don't know how the universe works. But I have had a friend who used to say beliefs are choices and they will guide you someplace, but you choose what it is. And my belief is now I'm not unique in this group. A lot of us have this belief among others is I am here to learn. And so what that does is that sets up the expectation for me every single day of my life. Can I learn something today? I got to learn something. It's like even if and I love this. Even if what I learned is everything I tried sucked and didn't work, it's like the question is, did I learn something? Yep. I learned a lot about what's not going to work, and I got reminded of how easily I fall back into the place of just old behaviors. Okay? And it's like, and therefore, the end of the day, are you happy, Tom? No, not that day. I feel crappy. It's like, how'd your day go? It was good, because I learned. I got something. It's like, and that's the setup for success,
How long did it
and
take you? How long did it take you to arrive at that
oh
conclusion?
God, and I don't know. I mean, a long, long, long time and as I simplify it right now, I'm still getting there. It's like there's nothing I state, and I don't want to. It's not false humility. There's nothing I state about what I really believe that I have, and I think at this point, I've done this work and I've been in this program. I've done this. I mean, I don't have any problem owning that I know some stuff and I have some wisdom about this, but it's like. Um, None of it's just there to stay. My job is maintenance of that, and it's like, and just like things I lose this stuff all the time. I forgot about that. I didn't put that. That's one of the reasons this community, our AA and all their A's communities is so important because, that's what we do. We remind ourselves. It's like Bill in his letter says something like this isn't a new these are new not new ideas. There's no fucking new ideas. I mean, it's the people I don't trust is the ones who are putting out the latest self-help book or the latest program, and it's brand new and nobody's ever thought of it. It's like, no, that's you may have my job I think as a writer is to put words in certain orders maybe that other people haven't put them in, and what I can build with words that way. But it's like the lessons, they're not different, they're the same, and I just keep learning it. But it was many years. I have no idea how to answer that question, Patrick. Because I'm still learning it, but if it makes any sense, I'm still learning it, but I know it now. I do know it.
Well, that's a big one. I'm asking because, realizing that, your purpose is to learn and primarily, and there's other priorities, but that's, as like an organizing principle for your life, like I wish I had that. I'm still looking for mine. So,
Well, well, borrow that one. That's one you can keep with lots of others. It's like, um, no, what my friend Bendel told me about beliefs, it was just such a simple thing. He said we were talking about fundamentalism and people who were just hell bent on whatever the subject, hell bent on convincing you that they had the God's honest truth. And that not only did they believe that, but you better believe it too, and whether that be political or religious or whatever. And what my friend Bendel, I used to refer to him as a fundamentalist hippie. It's like whatever that is. But he would say you don't have to defend it. You don't have to a belief that you choose is nothing you don't have to sell it. Nobody else has to believe it. It's like it's just yours. And and this is attraction about promotion. It's like other people may choose how do you, so if somebody were to ask me something like, how do you do what you do? How do you keep the attitude that you keep? That would be one of my answers. I approach each day like I'm here to learn something, and one of the measures of my success is do I learn something today? Have I been the best version of myself I can be, or have I learned something that's going to make me a little bit better tomorrow? And it's like it's the idea is I have other beliefs that here this is my beliefs. I was a fundamentalist, New Ager back in the 80s and 90s. I knew how the universe worked. I understood how all of this worked, and I was a past life therapist, and we did all that reincarnation stuff and the past life regressions, and I could tell you exactly what was happening. It's like it's like today, it's like you go like, okay, tell me about the meaning of life and how the universe works. Fortunately, I say, I don't know, and that's my response. I was actually talking to a client today that they have a son who's 18 years old and who knows everything, and I was just telling them, I said, it's okay. When I was 18 years old, I knew everything too. And I apparently forgot it, but it's yeah, it's the belief systems. I was going back to I don't. Somebody asked me who'd been through all that New Age stuff with me decades ago. I ran to them not long ago, and they asked. They said, "Well, do you not believe that stuff anymore?" And I go like, "No, I don't disbelieve anything that I believed." It's like I've reconnected to the redneck within me, and part of that is reconnecting to the humility in me. And this I don't know, and I'll tell you, I don't know if I've ever shared this little story, and I'll shut up for a minute after I say this. It's like I had a mentor and a teacher who was teaching me about past life regression. And the question came up to her one time in a discussion. I don't know how it came up, but it seemed like a strange question to come to her that was teaching this. But did she believe in reincarnation? And I knew everything back in those days, and so I was taken aback a lot when her response was, "Huh." I mean, she went inside when and then she said, "I don't know." And I thought, "Oh shit, what is this? This is all." And then she chose me, and she said, "So you've been doing this for a while?" I go, "Yeah." He says, "Have you been regressed?" I go, "Yep." "And you remember these past lives?" I go, "Yep." And it's like, "And have you done regressions with other people?" "Yep." She said, "Has it been helpful?" And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it's their stories. It's like if they help you, they help you. If it's real, it happened, fine, but it doesn't have to be." And I've taken that and I've generalized that over and over through the years, where things just don't have to be one way. And to me, that's a big part of what emotional sobriety is flexibility. I told you guys I was just going to riff tonight, and that's all I've been doing. So I hope some of it makes sense.
Yeah, the thing I picked up out of that was the being open to being teachable, right? To
Yep.
being, especially to being wrong. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I, as much as I hated being wrong, like it's it's exciting, because it's another belief, another demand, another, expectation that, I probably got wrong.
Well,
And
Tom, don't you kind of like being wrong sometimes now?
yeah,
I mean, I don't mean you strive to be wrong, but it's a good experience.
yeah,
Well, it
Yeah.
means that your power source is flowing from somewhere besides a ironclad sense of your own rightness,
Mhm.
and because when your power source flows from that, and anything chips away at it, your world is ending, and it's
Mhm.
it's bedlam, and
Well,
I yeah.
and relationships, it helps so much. It's like one of the things I've noticed, and I've noticed this with working with other therapists, and probably Alan and I probably talked about this and doing one of our work together when we were doing workshops. It's like I don't think there's anything more empowering than for me and for the client if we're working along there and they're saying something that basically is giving me something that says, oh. I've been talking about this for last week or so, like or a long time. That's not right. I got that wrong, and there's something about credibility that and that comes through with that. It's like I I trust people who will admit when they're wrong and do it without being ashamed of it, without being defensive. Just that was, or even I'll say to people sometimes, I don't know if this is right, but I will think about it. But I'm going to say it to you like I believe it, and I'll tell somebody whatever it is, and then I do exactly what I say. I spend some time thinking about it because what you're doing is I'm trying something on. I think I know this, but I'm not sure.
yeah. There is something to be said for like confidence. Like I know how to stay sober, right? I know like that. I think I've got enough practice down, coming up on 36 years in February. Like, I think I've got the rhythm down now. I'm
Hmm.
confident, but beyond that, there's like a whole big wide world of unknown, or mistaken understanding of. Uh, I have a quick story where I was sponsoring a guy who was new, under a year, clean and sober, and he had the question about do I date? That whole
Hmm.
12-step thing about you should no major changes first year, maybe you don't date,
Hmm.
all that stuff. And I was like, based on your history, and all that stuff, maybe you wait. But he came into this group, right, and raised his hand and asked Alan. Alan's like, "Oh yeah, go ahead," because you don't know if you can handle dating unless you go out and date. Like you don't know
Hmm.
what's going to happen, when you mix this with that until you mix this with that. And life is
Right.
about the experience, and to see what happens as a result. So it was. I was like, "Yeah, he's right." Damn it, Alan's right again.
Well, I mean, well, I love that because and see the other thing, the flexibility of that is, and we can all imagine somebody that we know that we've worked with before that basically they would ask that question and we would and we would go, no. Don't date now. It's like, and because we would intuitively know this is not the right thing for this person. But it's like, I mean, that's one of the things, the idea that we put things in these policies, the concept of don't date, don't make major changes in the first year is a beautiful concept. It's like, is it just a policy? Well, no, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
It's
rubber
like,
hits road. It's a whole different story.
yeah, yeah, there could maybe some amazing opportunities that happened to me, 2 weeks into my sobriety. I'm not, am I supposed to just walk past them because the timing is bad?